Hello again. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst List, the ultimate in Top 10 Worst Lists worldwide. The primordial goo from which all life sprang. A profound endeavor to try and find the worst in everything. And what a pleasure it is to be here yet again. I'm your host for today's episode, Dan Druff, and I'll be your guide through an investigatory odyssey of discovery and enlightenment. Today's top 10 worst list is top 10 worst reasons why you'd consider dating your cat. And this is an important issue for a lot of people, for a lot of different reasons. And I'm very excited to embark upon it. But before we do, I'm obligated to run through a quick little checklist. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. A variety of things that will acclimate you and orientation for you as to what to expect, and some parameters or guidelines to enhance your overall experience with top 10 worst of lists. So number one, I am nuts. Okay. I think it's probably already obvious to you, but it certainly will become really apparent once I begin to pontificate, elaborate, extemporaneously comment on the various different items within the list. So with that in mind, I can't be trusted or relied upon. Now, I think context is a big difference maker in this particular line item here, so that you fully comprehend what I'm saying. I'm not balmy, whatever it is. I'm not that. I'm not straitjacket padded cell nuts. I am contextually nuts, in so much as that our society has become unmoored and floats about aimlessly in a sea of lies, to the point where a malevolent force has taken a grip on our ability to be able to conduct ourselves as if we had free will in a world where that's built on lies. We can't really make choices because choices need to be informed by an informed notion of truth, and especially recently, we're infused with nothing but lies from every resource. The economic leaders, the cultural leaders, political leaders, certainly, and even, sort of like the Houston Astros, like things like that. I mean, how can you really have faith in humanity and our surroundings and our culture in a world where the Houston Astros cheat to win the World Series by stealing signals from the opposing team, and they're busted for it, and they're allowed to keep their championship and their trophy and all that stuff, minor league slap on the wrist, and that's it. Whereas in 19, the Black Sox scandal, when the Chicago White Sox team took money to intentionally lose games, or various members within that team, 8 of them were banned for life. And of course, this is just people playing to lose. The cheating to lose. The Houston Astros cheated to win, and they got no bans for life, no asterisk after their title. They kept the title, nothing. I mean, how are we supposed to trust anything if America's sport is compromised at such a fundamental level? And Deflategate with the Patriots. These are patriots, patriotic people, the symbol of justice, fortitude in our very fair representational government that is by the people and for the people and doesn't have any taxation without representation. The Patriots deflated footballs to win a game, and they're busted for it, and they get to keep their championship. And Spygate and all that good stuff. Cheaters are, and just the same way that cheaters are allowed to cheat and win and have their wins authenticated and confirmed by the corporate greedmongers that control those sports, should be evidence enough that we're in very disturbing territory in our culture. Disturbing. All right, so number 2, I'm not a partisan. I'm not going to play the game anymore. I get it. You want to hate people as much as possible. You want to waste whatever time you got left in this life. Adding fuel to the furnace that percolates hatred and divisiveness in our country. And I guess that's the game plan, because it's been like about 30 years since the country's started to spiral down the path of relentless hatred for each other. And I think it's probably what you really want. I mean, I don't see anybody out there trying to make any movements. I'll make a movement, sorry. But I have a movement where I tried to, for 30 years, tried to instigate a peaceful revolution based on empowering Wisconsin people, make them too powerful emotionally, physically, intellectually, spiritually, to be dominated by our cruel, malevolent overlords. And I couldn't get any traction. People just didn't want to be bothered. And they didn't believe me when I was screaming that, that we live in a clandestine fascist society. And, it's just a joke. It was harsh. And I turned out to be this. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. But all of it has taught me a lesson. The divide and conquer lines that they've created between this right and left are artificial. And if we're going to stick with it, there is no resource out there that's ever going to change it, make it better. No cataclysm or anything like that. We're ruled by, maybe not a suicide of the body, but certainly a suicide of the soul is being waged against humanity. And I think that it's very, very likely that the extermination of the human race and replacement of them with the AI cybernetic robot race is the next step in the evolutionary chart. And you got nobody in culture, nobody in the economy, nobody in education, and nobody in politics who has any ability to be able to lead us out of this. I believe that some cleverly placed surreptitious fifth column operatives, primarily Bill and Hillary Clinton, who betrayed the Democratic constituency, the mayors of Chicago, one after the other, sold all the assets out from underneath those people. They are belligerent exponents of harm, endangerment, and suffering and grief for the working classes of Chicago, where I'm from. And I think that all the blue cities are getting treated the same, with all their parking meters being sold off, all their public parking lots, their toll bridges and such, and getting artery clogging, nightmarish red light cameras and speed cameras, and being sold to us as if they're protecting anybody. They're not protecting anybody. They're destroying everybody, making our lives impossible, making it impossible for us to have any productivity, and taking away all of our parking and making it super dangerous for us to, and they're building all these curbs that jut out into the middle of traffic and block bus stops and slow down traffic to the point where it's maddening. It's unsurvivable. Their nonstop road construction of major league highways that put everybody in a bumper-to-bumper traffic, it's become unavoidable. They've been just doing it to every single road for 20 years now. And making all the most productive times of the year, the most sunlight, just the most hours to be able to work, and just most energy, and climate things, temperate zones like Chicago have limited windows to be able to do those types of activities, have clogged it all up by nonstop construction of major league roads and whatnot, and spending who knows how many billions to do pretty much nothing but add to congestion as part of an act of vengeance against the working classes. I just got to say it. Hillary Clinton was a devout, ultra right-wing Republican throughout her formative years. She was a volunteer for the worst of the worst Republicans. Otto Graham, a 1964 presidential election candidate, Billy D. Williams, I think maybe, Barry Goldwater, and volunteered for his campaign. Volunteered for Barry Goldwater. Does anybody even know what that means? And then she went down to Miami Beach for the 1968 Republican Convention, and and that's and then reinvented herself in the 80s or whatever, 70s, and I don't know, man. And it's the same with Elizabeth Warren. She was a conservative Republican for many years, and then was faced with the problem of wanting to be a senator and living in Massachusetts. So for political expediency, she became a Democrat. Now these are all, and then they get the Blue Dog Democrats that again started with the Clintons in the 90s, putting their House Majority Whip Rahm Emanuel to the task of recruiting a bunch of Republicans to switch parties to the Democrats, And the Democrats have never been the same. And they are 100% sellouts, selling out their constituency, and turned this country into a one-party state. And it was never really, I mean, it's never all that liberal to begin with. There was a tiny little window with FDR getting us out of the Depression and leading us through World War II, but there's not a single monument in Washington, D.C. to FDR. Arguably the greatest president we've ever had, and perhaps the greatest American that we've ever had. And here's a guy who was confined to a wheelchair, got polio late in life. Thank you, RFK Jr. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I mean, I can't think of a more powerful human being who took on so much and gave everything that he had. And there's to not have any acknowledgement in all of Washington, D.C., and to have them all tearing down his legacy, signature achievements, little by little, is all proof positive that there is no opposition party in the United States. It's all one party, and it's all the only people that represents is the ruling elite. And that's the way it's always been. I mean, it was a government that was created by and for rich, white, wealthy landowners. And that's okay if they're decent people, but they never were. They called black people 3/5 of a human being. They called women 0% of a human being. Women didn't get the right to vote till 65 years after the freed slaves, on paper anyway. And slaves didn't get to actually real access to be able to vote until the Civil Rights Act in 1965. Even after they were given the right to vote, because of how prejudice and unfair and malevolent that the reactionaries and the fundamentalists were. And it was Americans who built and funded the eugenics labs at Cold Harbor Laboratory to scientifically prove that white people were the master race. And Hitler cites their work as being deeply influential in the text of Mein Kampf. And what am I talking about? Look, these are horrible things. There are horrible people in this world. We're out of time. Human race is done. There are no resources, no ability to be able to fight against the oppression and injustices of this world unless you bind together and figure out a way to get over your frickin' selves and collaborate on a true liberation for the human race before it's too late. And it is too late. So, I mean, the lack of urgency, you're all going out to frickin' baseball games and little local gigs and fighting amongst yourselves. It's just frickin' crazy, suicidal. What is wrong with you? What does have to happen? Are you going to tear your skin off? Create a Spanish Inquisition for all people? Put everybody into torture chambers and everything like that? And you'd be like going like, well, maybe I shouldn't have gone to that baseball game when the world was collapsing and became so freaking obvious that the country had really descended into a full-on fascist dictatorship. You should have noticed it 80 years ago, when all of a sudden the head of the military becomes the head of the civilian leadership, and all of a sudden there's this giant purges of ruining the lives and destroying the lives of every leftward-leaning progressive in the entire country, one after the other. House Un-American Committee, Payola Committee, all of the progenitors of rock and roll disappeared or died within 3 or 4 years after rock and roll got started. We were sterilizing our culture. The Hollywood 10, the Weavers, Alan Freed, all of these people were leading the charge to try and bring progressivism into our cultural mechanisms, who could have had decades and decades of influences on our culture and be leaders to those and mentors to those who could have taken the mantle and run with it and develop and raise awareness and intellectual pursuits and emotional maturity into a level where we could have had the strength intellectually to have protected the human race against these malefactors. But you don't even see it. You know what I'm saying? And then, it got to be where, James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Ernie Kovacs, Jack Parr's ruined, and Steve Allen is kicked off of TV. Lenny Bruce is ruined and then dies under mysterious conditions. It's just on and on. That's and Sam Cooke, and that's before any of the really heavy stuff got started in the '60s, when you got people just dropping like flies, Lorraine Hansberry and Jackson Pollock, and oh my God, it's just one after another, where these profoundly expressive people are having their lives ruined or getting killed outright, one after the other, every single one of them. And nobody gives a rat's ass. Nobody even cares. Nobody's doing anything that and then they start replacing all of the cultural exponents with brainwashed, sterilized nobodies, and they start replacing the sort of radical dissenters with a bunch of psychopathic murderers. Or you go from Abby Hoffman's and Phil Oakes and John Sinclair's and the Black Panthers, James Baldwin's, and you go from that, as being the activists who are dissenting against the evil nature of the power brokers of our society, and they're replaced with the Unabomber, Timothy McVeigh, Osama bin Laden, and all of a sudden, now people who come out as angry against society and our culture and America as a whole are now seen as murderers. God damn it. And it's all set up. It's all scripted. And that's the way it is. I don't mean to spring it on you like this, but somebody's got to do it. Anyway, so it might not seem like today's top 10 list has got any validity to it. It might just seem like it's out of left field, but it's brought together by a team of former celebrity stunt doubles who gathered together with me outside of the Alamo and come up with these lists while taking copious amounts of blotter acid mixed with baby aspirin. And we've got a sponsor today. Usually this is the funniest part of the whole doohickey here. Attila the Honey? I don't even know what that's supposed to be. uh, of Loan Shark Week on the Discovery Channel. That's always so bad. Mork and Minty. The old man of the KFC. All right. Boris Badenough when it comes to those fake commercials. All right. So today's list was top 10 worst reasons why you'd consider dating your cat. Number 10, your cat is not afraid to make eye contact. True that. And I think that's an important sign of maturity. Somebody's being like evasive with their eyes and not looking, like right at you when you're talking with them. That's sketchy. Number 9, the top 10 worst reasons why you consider dating your cat. Your cat might be full of as much doo-doo as the person you used to date, but at least they keep it contained in a box in the corner. So it's compartmentalized. And you know that it's not just going to spread all over the place, overtake the entirety of the relationship. Number 8, of the top 10 worst reasons why you consider dating your cat. A cat knows they can eat you alive anytime they want, but they don't. Oh, this is starting to get interesting now with number 7. This is a mind blower. Strap yourself in. Your cat doesn't love you, but they don't lie about it and mess around behind your back. Woo! Number 6 of the top 10 worst reasons you'd consider dating your cat. Your cat doesn't drive 1,000 miles an hour on the expressway so they have time to put the spurs to their side piece and still get home in time for dinner kibbles. This is important, realizations. Well, when you know that you're being used, or when you feel like you're inclined to feel like you're being used, you're suspicious of the using going on behind your back, perhaps even with the night nurse at the step-down clinic. Number 5. Cats won't gaslight you every so often. They'll gaslight you all the time and make you think that they care. They do not care, but at least you know where it's at, baby. Number 4. Cats are always down. Every time you rub their back, they always lift their ass. Now, I think that's, a sign of a healthy relationship when you can anticipate, you get to know them so well that you can anticipate how they will react in certain intimate, touchy-feely types of situations. And, you rub the back of the cat and that ass is always popping. Always popping. Number 3, cats are never racist or bigoted. They hate everyone all the time. Clearly, cats are not real invested in the situation. They will look at you and people, oh, look at the cutie. It's not cute. The cat is looking at you like you're my insurance policy in case we ever run out of canned tuna. The cats will eat people. I don't think if you croaked and you got the cats lying around, the cats are going to start to eat you, the dead body, the minute they run out of kibbles and bits and bits and bits. However, I don't think a dog would eat you. You drop dead and stuff, and you're like a tenderoni. You look like a pepperoni to them, but they will sniff you and they'll be like, oh man, I should just dig into that ass and but the dog won't do it. The dog sort of, I think, has a sort of loyalty even at the cadaver stage to their master. And let's be honest here. People look at their pets as family members, right? And yet they drive around with their dogs in their car without safety seats. And they get the dogs pretty much hanging out the windows. And, why aren't they required safety seats if these are family members now? And we all know that expenses for keeping pets have skyrocketed. You talk about the health insurance on the human side skyrocketing. I don't think it's anything compared to the cost of owning a pet now. And pets are, I don't know if they're being bred to be super fragile or whatever, but I got, 99% of all the people that I know that own pets have had some kind of major league messed up situation going on that's cost them a ton of money. And I don't remember back in my day, the dogs never got sick back in my day. What'd you say, Sonny? Huh? I'm telling you, man, like if you're going to keep a baby around, you're going to call a recreational pet a family member and you put it in a car without a seatbelt, you need to be arrested as an accessory to manslaughter. Pet slaughter. How would that... It's got to be pet slaughter. And pets don't feel love, man. Pets feel an automatic allegiance of something that we don't really comprehend. I don't think it's love, though. I think it's sort of somewhere a different version of things that we just don't know. It's like the alpha male thing. It's just kind of like you're looking for... it's just weird. Somebody sits around and waits for you all day like you're this whole world, and you come in and it's like jumping all over you and everything like that. It's not healthy. Think of it as a person that, was... Because, you say recreational pets are family member, so replace that dog who's curled up in a ball at the foot of the door waiting for you to come back in and jumps all over you and slobbers all over you and everything like that. The minute you walk in, think of that if that was a person doing that. An actual human family member, not some crazy made-up family member that you project into your captive pet. And you are the master. That's the term that they use. It's not a pretty look. Where was it? Lifting ass cats? Cats that lift their asses? Oh. All right, number 2, I think. Top 10 worst reasons why you consider dating your cat. Cats let you treat them like property, which for some perverted reason seems to be all you need out of a relationship. I'm sorry if that makes a few people out there feel a little overexposed. A little, perhaps, salty at my remark. My observational humor, perhaps, cutting a little too close to the bone. But it's weird, people totally, completely unable to make enough connections with the human beings in the world, having to turn to pets instead feels like we need to do better. There's too much need in the world for humans for us to be spending this much time dedicated towards recreational pets. We spend on pets the same amount of money, according to UNICEF, that it would take to feed the world, and there's 9 million people die from starvation-related causes throughout the world every year, most of whom are children. And it's the same amount of money that it takes to feed all the recreational pets is the exact amount that they need to keep all the 9 million people from starving to death. Children who probably die in their parents' arms, and parents are freaking out because there's nothing that they can do because there's just no food. That's because, a large part because people are spending that money on food for pets. And whether they know it or not, they're not consciously making that choice or the decision because they're just too detached to be bothered. And they don't want to reflect on their lives because they realize that if they took too close a look at who they are, what they're doing, what the vastness and the indifference of the universe in their day-to-day lives translates into, if we think about it too much. And, people, I'm sorry, I'm rubbing my nose. It's another freezing morning in paradise. And I just don't know where it all winds up. But what I can say is that whether we are engaged in the process or in denial, the fact is that we're bagging up pile after pile of poops and non-biodegradable kitty litter and wrapping them in plastic bags that everybody hates now and is the demon's work in our lives, right? It's been demonized so much that we can't even use a freaking plastic bag. We gotta bring in these ultra thick paper bags now that are 10 times more expensive, 10 times bulkier, cost 10 times as many trucks to ship in, with 10 times as much diesel pollution and mercury in the atmosphere, and not really biodegradable because, hey, look, for paper to hold canned goods, you think you can hold canned goods inside just like tissue paper or whatnot? You got to spray the chemicals the hell out of it, make them super thick. These things aren't going anywhere. But those same people who are thinking that they're doing the world a favor by using paper bags, but really aren't, but think they are the same ones who got the pets with the plastic bags, with the poop, and who knows what, and diseases are going to be in there, seeping into the water table as these bags break in the gigantic landfills, overflowing with these bags, billions and billions of plastic bags full of poop, and full of non-biodegradable kitty litter, also filled with poops, also encased in thick plastic bags. And it's a world full of so much need that, and our immaturity to be able to connect with each other, and going back to what I was talking about ending that division between us, artificially imposed divide and conquer mechanism of right and left, which organically doesn't really exist, and is not black and white. At best would be gray, deeply gray, and we choose that over our ability to be able to have human connection. We prefer, we advocate, we support a society full of hatred. And we're not even trying to overcome the indoctrination that teaches us to hate and detach and squander this precious gift of life. Cats, animals are property. We think of them as that unconditional love, the source of unconditional love that we can't get from human beings. How sad is that? It's profoundly sad and made even sadder by the fact that we're about to lose the human race to the AI robotic race. And we can't even go out with any sense of style or flair, because it's just not in the cards for us. And we just have to be too cool. And we got to love that hatred. And we got to be able to, make sure that none of our friends take offense to the fact that we're, giving serious thought to being a little more open-minded and whatnot. But the fact is that you're not, and you don't, and you can't. And we've got, just because we're living under the boot heel of our satanic malefactors, controlling society and the media and everything like that, and they've infused our culture with a bunch of lies, obfuscations, and misanthropic intentions that keep us hating each other and keep us apart, in order to what? So that we can, live out the rest of our days hating half the people in this freaking country? What's the point? Where are we going to go with it? Because it's going to get... There's no possible way it could get better if we just let it stew. Just people just continue to be horrible and oppressed. Even the people that get the freaking right-wingers have every branch of government, every media outlet in the mainstream, and all these dozens of alt-right outlets and Clear Channel, and there's no liberal media. It's all a fallacy. It's all designed to be a big lie. All of media, all the green light power in media and distribution are all in control of ultra right-wing corporations. How can you say that giant ultra right-wing corporations are going to do God damn it, anything to endanger their own profits and the consolidation of power with greedflation and stuff like that? It's because there's no competition anymore. That's why they can get away with it. I read an article today that said Walmart is considering having surge pricing for groceries. Too many people are buying milk, so they're going to jack up the price of milk. Like Uber. Hey, where did Uber come from? Why did David, what's his name? David Fluff. David Fluff. Hi, Fluff. Oh, look at Fluff. Look how cute. Why did David Fluff go from having a job of getting the first black man in the most racist country in all of history getting elected to be president? His next job was as the head of Uber? Because Uber was a giant, all the cabbies were all unionized. It was a great job for most people. I guess like hundreds of thousands of dollars to get these medallions for taxis, and they were lining up for days to get them. It's because people could make a living as a hack. Not anymore. Because the Uber's come in and it's completely stuck it to all these private owners of vehicles, and no health insurance, no union benefits, no nothing. And Uber was just a big giant union busting thing. Came in out of nowhere and just absolutely obliterated taxis throughout the country. Obliterated. And all of the unions gone within like weeks, months. And there's David Fluff, the head of the Obama campaign, who's leading the charge to destroy unions. Man, you are sunk. Number 1 of the top 10 worst reasons why you consider dating your cat. Cats don't pork your best friend and then try to blame it on you. True that. Well, anyway, that's all the time we got for top 10 worst of. Today, I trust that you've had a wonderful time. A bunch of laughs. It was a laugh ride today, wasn't it? Everything I said here on this video endeavor are all opinions. And on top of that, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've had much to do with these opinions. I don't know where I come up with all this stuff, to be honest with you. It's sort of like channeling some sort of energy and I believe it's some form of language that the universe is reaching out to us and trying to speak through us, but we have no conception as to how to translate any of it. But anyway, that's the process, so don't blame me. It's just, the universe that I allowed to channel through me when this stuff just comes running. All these weird esoteric ideas and such. I got nothing to do any of this stuff. It just happens. I didn't ask for it. I write a lot, written a lot throughout my entire life. And so I've spent a lot of time contemplating my navel. I don't believe that it takes great suffering to create great art, although I have had a great deal of suffering. And I'm not saying that what I do is great art, certainly not even close, really, to be honest with you. But the fact is that I do believe that it takes great solitude to create great art. The ability to be able to detach from others so that you can become, a true contemplative and really come to grips with the deepest and most expressive elements within our lives in this world. And in the absence of that, it's just like, screw it, why bother? What's the point? As much suffering as I've had, and it's been intense suffering in every imaginable way possible. I can't even believe that sometimes that I'm actually living in a real world. The amount of impositions in my life and grief has been so overwhelming and diverse, really incredible, as to the point where it's laughable. And it's the only way I can survive is just sort of looking at the absurdity and knowing that every single day there's going to be a shoe dropping with some horrible twist and turn that imposes itself upon me. I have no idea how the hell I'm still alive. I don't know what is going on with the world and why, I've been... I don't think I've done anything bad to anybody. I never broken any hearts. I never crossed any lines. I always tried to help people, make the world a better place, more joyful place to be in. I've done a lot of satire that was biting, uncompromised attempts at humor, but there were all attempts at humor to be able to engage people. Because I think, one of the first things I realized when I tried to become an activist was that two things that everybody wanted in their lives is more jams, because people love good jams. I don't care who you are or what, on the side of the political spectrum that you have to be on. If you hear a tasty jam, you're down. It's like that's a tasty jam. And the other is humor. Everybody wants to laugh. You see, you're at a party and you're just kind of like, you got there and you put in the wine coolers that you brought into the fridge and you walk back out and you see a group of people, in a circle laughing and having a great time and enjoying themselves. You're like, wow, I'd really like to be in on that, circle of friends there and, having some laughs. It's just nature. People want to, so that's why I chose the vehicles of laughter and music as being the main focuses of what I'm trying to do. And I get, there's some considerable amount of satire that became shocking, but it was all in the service of trying to make, people comprehend about and visualize the trap that we're in and the expansiveness of the attacks against the human race that we were seemingly oblivious of and still are mostly oblivious of. And people go to in Chicago, they go to Cubs games and they take selfies of themselves, like, here I am at a Cub game. And then, the next day they're posting about how much they hate Trump and Trumpism and all of Trump's associates and MAGA and everything like that. And the day before they were at a Cubs game, giving over their money over to one of the inner circle members of the Trump MAGA crew, the Ricketts family who owns the Chicago Cubs. Not only that, but they weren't just MAGA guys, because sometimes people have diverse opinions. I don't know what the hell you're going to do. You say that you don't want to support MAGA people or anything like that, and you hate them, and you say that online, and then but the day before you went and gave over your money to not just MAGA people, but people who actually ran the economic side of Trump's campaign in 2020. The Ricketts. So I just don't get it. I mean, it's madness on both sides. It's just anger, violence, and hatred, and prejudice, and bigotry, and on the right, and then on the left, it's just a bunch of people who've been played by the politicians that don't really care about them and sold them out a long time ago. And that's why everything sucks as bad as it does. There's no opposition party. What was I doing here, by the way? I think I was signing off. Anyway, it's sort of a pleasure to be here yet again. And thank you for joining in. And I do look forward to having a more optimistic... One of these days, I'd love to be able to do a top 10 worst of best things in life. Or something that, reflected that the world was getting to a better place or improving or had some reason for optimism. But I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry to say. Anyway, but it's been great, so great to have lived long enough to have delivered this top 10 worst of to you. Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it, my pretties. And we'll catch you next time. All right, thanks.